And today you're going to see us make this, turned it into this. Hello everyone, I'm B from Our Dream, Our Purpose. And as you see this piece of, what it is a train track piece. I was hoping to get a larger one, but you don't find these everywhere. I happen to find this here at a flea market. And what I want to do with this is make a small anvil out of it. The tough thing is there's holes here already pre-drilled. It's not, I didn't expect that. I didn't really want that. It makes the base a little thinner than what I really want, but we'll adapt to it. And the length of it's not as long as I want. I'm only going to have a smaller area. It's going to have a real small nose on it. But it'll give me some flat surface to work on. So we're going to work on this. You're going to see me build it. I'm actually going to, one thing that I try to do everything in my garage and show you. You can do this. The first thing I'll do is I want to get this a flat surface. It's somewhat rounded. I'm going to get this a flat surface. You can do that with a grinding wheel, with a heavy duty grinding wheel, and go back and forth on it. I actually have access to a milling machine, so I'm actually going to mill this off to make it nice and smooth. And then probably drill a few holes down here and on this side so I can have something to bolt down to. And then everything else, we'll come back and do it here. So you're going to see me move over to my pops' shop. My brother's going to help me out. We're going to do a little bit of work there, and then we'll bring it back here and finish it up. All right? See you shortly. All right, as I mentioned, over here at Pops' shop, gonna have my brother help me out a little bit. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what by hand, you can do all of this by hand. So basically starting off, you can see we just clamped that down to just a table, just a workstation. So give them a good opportunity to work and grind the top down. I just have the availability of a shop to be able to do some of this. So actually first gonna show you how we can get this surface flat, and then we'll talk about I'll do it by hand, and then we'll move over to the milling machine, use it to actually complete what I'm looking for, and then we'll actually flip it over and drill as well. And we'll talk a little bit about the drilling. All right, so the one thing when you go to drill, you're doing anything at all, this in particular, and I'll show you a close-up view when I actually go in to do it, is you take a file and you kind of file an edge. Now I can see here, you see the shininess there. This is hardened, but not completely hardened. If it was completely hardened, you wouldn't see that at all. With being able to see some of that, it's semi-hardened, so, but you still have to be careful when you're drilling through it, or you're doing any work on it. When we're grinding the top, you'll see it won't be that big of a deal, but when we're drilling, you gotta be drilling it slow. You gotta make sure you're using oil and things like that, or you're gonna burn up bits. So, but we'll show you that in more of a close-up, all right? Let's get to hand grinding some of the top to get it flat and go from there. So what I'm gonna do is I have the mill, but I'm gonna show you, you can flatten this off with just a hand grinder. So we're gonna do a little bit of that so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll take it to the mill. So you don't have to have a mill, you can do it all by hand.
You see me just going back and forth, focusing most of my attention on the center, and then you'll see me using a flat piece of metal. And what I'm doing is just trying to see where my high and low spots are. And then I'll go back and grind some more and then check it again and back and forth.
It's more of a flat surface.
Yep. And that's what you can do by hand. But because we have the mill, let's go over there.
Here you'll see we've got it on the mill, and we're just taking little bits off at a time, about 30 thousandths. Here's a little slow motion view of it. As we get a little farther down, the end mill itself is the fly cutter, I should say. Won't do the entire pass, so we just go back and do 2 passes. Not a huge deal. You can see we actually started getting what I was calling sparks. What it is the chips that are flying off are being cut, and it's at a hotter temperature. So it's the chips that are flying off, not sparks. but they're red hot, so something to look for. We will explain later what was found and why it was doing that. As I mentioned earlier, you can see using a flat piece of steel here to see the flatness. One pass and it's completely flat. Now I want to go down a little deeper, not going all the way down to where it's flat straight across. We'll get a nice 90 on one side, then the other side will be a little rounded, but I didn't want to take too much off. I want to make sure I kept as much of the strength and thickness as we could of this, but let's continue to watch. Here we're just determining where we want the holes drilled for this.
Yep, right there. So the shiny part that you're seeing is where this tool bit got worn down. It wasn't cutting on the front, it was cutting off the side. That's why it was throwing sparks.
Now, one thing I'd like to add as you're watching the drilling of this base, what I've realized I don't capture enough of is the collaboration and the amount of fun my brother and I have going back and forth. Anytime he helps me with any of my work that I need, he volunteers right away to help, and then we just enjoy talking about old times, new times. It's just, for me, I just want to thank him, but also just point out the amount of enjoyment you can have with family members. Just don't ever forget about those. But thank you.
Back in the shop. As you saw, took this over to my pops' house. Brother helped me out. Very fortunate to have a great family. I shot him a text and asked when he had a little bit of free time, and he let me know the very next day he had free time. So that was earlier. Went over there, instantly took care of what I needed. And what I was looking for is a couple things. I was wanting to flatten this off and put a couple holes in it. You can do it. I showed you can do it by hand, but I was fortunate to have a mill, so why not? So you can see here, flatten it off. It had to take 2 passes. The flat cutter we had wasn't wide enough. You see down here, I didn't want to go too deep down. I could have, not a big deal. I want to save as much mill as I can, but I've got a nice 90 degree over here, so if I need to bend anything perfectly 90, I've got it. This side is a little more rounded, but it gives me more surface, so I'll clean all that up. And then we'll start cutting here. I'll draw that out for you, and then you'll see I'll be using a cutoff wheel grinder, some grinding wheels quite a bit to finish everything else out on this. We'll put a little peak on it so we can do round, use it for round items when we're bending them. Alright, so we did a little work to clean this top up. It's not going to be perfectly shiny. It's an Anvil. You're going to actually beat metal on it. So I got it to where I wanted to because I want to be able to draw lines on it to give us a point. But what I'm going to do now is actually draw out what we're really going to be looking for and what we're going to be needing to cut out. Get a little bit of an angle here. So you can see. So I have a hole drilled in here, and what I was really working for when I drilled those holes is I want the anvil, the base of it, to stick about an inch out past that. So we're looking, if this is here, I want about an inch out. Let's see. same for the other side. Basically what I'm doing is putting, like this one, I'll put the 3 right on it, make a line at the 2. Okay. So that'll come straight into here. So that's going to be the base, the size of the base right there. I'll cut this off. This right here will be cut off. This will be cut off. Now, this, I want to go up the base a little bit, okay? And from there to this point right here. So that'll give me my round part. I'll do the same over here. Go up the base a little bit. Okay. And then just going to, now this is the side I'm going to put the point on, so you can see the hole is drilled in a little farther. That's okay. I'm going to go up from here to about here. And then that'll be cut straight across. And the reason being is I'll actually be doing the angle there. So we'll want that out of the way. Okay. Do the same over here. But this, because we're going to keep all of this, this will actually taper, cut that little piece out, and I'll round this. So all this here and all this here, we're actually going to cut out. So I'll start with the bottom. So put this in the vise, flip it over, and we'll focus on cutting this line here from the bottom to give us that mark up to there. And then we can focus on cutting maybe here, just to cut that out, or however we end up doing it. But we'll start with that. All right, let's get to it.
So for majority of what I'm doing here, I'm using a 4.5-inch grinder with a cutoff wheel on it to cut the metal, and then I'll actually use a thicker grinding wheel on it to actually clean it up. There were times you will see that I use a sawzall, and towards the end I used a portable bandsaw, which if I would have used at the very beginning would have cut this task drastically in half, if not more. But tried what tools I had, tried different ones to see what would work. Unfortunately, the one I used last is what I found probably worked the best for me. But just whatever tools you have, you can use them. There's a lot you can use to do this. I did, so use what you have and go from there. Again, just a fun project. We're just trying to cut to get the overall appearance that I wanted to, get some of the metal off, and then clean it up and make it look like what we want to be able to use it. All right. So here's where I'm making the final cuts. I just used a grinding wheel, started just to make the lines that I wanted. Then thought, you know, let's try this portable bandsaw. As you can see here, it is sped up, but to be honest, it's cutting through the metal like butter compared to any other tool that I used. Cut the sides, and then I actually flip it up to cut a little angle on the bottom as well. I'll be using it. So great tool. Wish I would have thought of it at the beginning, but again, now once we get the cuts made, we're just using a grinding wheel to really round everything, give us the surface that we want on here. So we'll get back to it. Now all of the cuts are done. I'm just using grinding wheel as mentioned earlier now to clean everything up inside there, just to how I like it. It's really nice what you do. Just using some brake cleaner here to get off any of the dust, debris from the grinding, the cutting, and any oils from drilling or anything like that. So just trying to clean it up. I'll show you. I want to paint it, but I just want to clean it up first. That's all really doing here. And what I'm doing here is just painting it. I will mention a little later, I had some bare surfaces, just different surfaces, so I want to get it all consistent. I'm using a black sandable primer first, just to get a good base spray of the paint on it. I'll let that wait anywhere from 15-30 minutes. It's dry, tack up a little bit, and then I come back with a black paint, just regular paint, to give the final coat on it.
All right, I'm B, again, back. You see me doing a lot of work on this. I didn't do a lot of conversations. I'll do some voiceovers, you'll hear that, talking through the process and things we did. To be honest, it's a little more of a struggle than what I had anticipated. I'd seen this done multiple times, tried to use a cutting wheel for majority of it, and realized an actual bandsaw, portable bandsaw, would have been the best for me for what I was doing and how I was doing it, but I think it turned out well. I'm very happy. It's going to be able to do anything that, a lot of things. I wouldn't say anything. It's smaller than a lot of anvils. If you're getting started, it's a nice little fun project. You enjoy doing it. Understand it's going to take a little time. You got to be patient in how you turn it out. I painted mine just because I had some bare metal sides. And it looked off, so I actually painted it just to give it that, and then cleaned up the top surface where I'm going to work the most. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, hit those notifications, and leave comments, any thoughts, anything you saw, anything I could do differently. Always looking for comments. And if you like the project, leave a comment. Just let me know if you like the project. I'm going to continue to do some. I'm going to build a few more things. And then start to actually playing around with some knife making and things like that in the future. So if you enjoyed that, come on back, and then we'll see what we can do. All right, thanks a lot. Talk to you later.